Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderEd, Blender HD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Monday, November 28th. And you know what we do on Mondays? It's Mondays with McCool, joined with the co-author of the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports, with me. The Advanced Players course is out right now. How to apply profitable DFS strategies for advanced players with the custom Excel tools that James McCool has written beautifully for us that I used yesterday to filter out lineups that I was making. So it's definitely a help. James, I had a break even Sunday. How'd it go for you?
Badly.
Badly? Oh, really badly.
Okay, so I thought this was really, really easy in GPPs because we had all of the chalk running backs were on teams with really good passing attacks. So for me, this week is really, really easy. All it was in my three lineups. I'm just going to stack up the Dolphins. I'm going to stack up, I can't even remember who's the other team that. Oh yeah, the Bucks. I had a Tampa Bay stack. I had a Miami stack, and then I ended up with a Las Vegas stack as well because I had them as a really good stack with the highest team total, whatever. And that was awesome. So the process there, I don't regret the process at all. What I will be mad about is Miami getting up to 292 passing yards in the first half, and both Tyreek and Waddle at 85 yards or something in the first half, and then just saying, we're done. We're going to be a real football team and actually win this game and not injure our starters, instead of caring about my fantasy team, which had a fantastic start. That was super tilting, right?
Isn't that the thesis? I mean, I talked about this on the Friday premium game theory show with Tuttle, that when teams are favored by 2 touchdowns, that there is a risk that they get to a certain point and then they kind of stop,
absolutely
run the ball more, whatever. But my attitude on this slate, I was with you, that with Jeff Wilson Jr. as super chalk, that it was worth it at the ownership, even though the Dolphins weren't unowned or anything. The Tua stacks were owned, that it was still worth doing because people would either be playing Jeff Wilson Jr. or saying, well, the Dolphins blow them out and we're not going to get any fourth quarter run for any of these starters anyway. And my point is maybe they have 42 points at that point. So why not? Right. But we got a Dolphins defensive touchdown. We got a Durham Smythe touchdown and
a Jeff Wilson Jr. touchdown, right?
And a Jeff Wilson Jr. touchdown. And they're playing the Texans. And once you go up by that much, do you have to really worry?
Yeah, so that's the main thing here, right? Is people always worry about blowouts. And blowouts, people think the wrong way about blowouts, especially in NBA, but it does translate over to NFL, right? Where people will look at a really large spread, something like the Chiefs or the Dolphins or even the Jets, right? They'll look at situations like that and think, oh, there's no way the other team can keep up. They're going to blow them out, and then they're going to rest their starters in the fourth quarter, and they're not going to do anything. It's okay, sure. So let's say that they are going to rest their starters in the fourth quarter. If they've scored 37 real life points already and are now resting their starters in the fourth quarter, they've done their job. That there is a chance, because somebody had to score all those points. Now we just had the nut low outcome here for Miami in terms of Miami stacks, where you get a defensive touchdown, you get a tight end touchdown, a backup tight end touchdown, and you get the running back touchdown, right? So we just end up with the nut low outcome of a blowout. But if instead of those 3 touchdowns, we end up with 4 Tua touchdowns, 2 to Waddle and 2 to Tyreek, it's that stack is now the absolute stone nuts, especially the ownership. I mean, in the power sweep, Tua was 12% owned, Tyreek Hill was 16%, but Waddle was 9% owned. He was low owned in that GPP. So to kind of wrap that up, blowouts, people think about it the wrong way. People think, oh, well, they're going to sit their starters in the last quarter of the game. And if they get to that point where it was a blowout, sure, but somebody had to score all those points. So they're still going to likely be very productive. It's
right. And their percentage of the time, they they blow him out in the way that what happened yesterday.
Right. And you have to account for the ownership, and there's an opportunity cost here for sure. But I thought that especially this week, and I talked about this in the Discord, not only did you have a situation where people were going to avoid the stacks because of a blowout, but the running back was massive chalk. So to be able to have not only people fading it because of the blowout, but also directly leveraging the chalk running back on the slate, it was just such a good spot. Like the opportunity cost on it was so good. I thought Miami stacks were far and away the best stack last or this week. I just thought
out of my 18 lineups, I played Tua in 4 of them. So like he was my most exposed stack.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to say good morning to the people in the chat. Wataz, Suki Singh, Bart B, Trevor Lewis. Good morning, DFIC, Don Easy. Good morning. Hit that thumbs up button. You know how much it helps out. Cobra Kai is back. Why didn't we play Mike White yesterday?
Why didn't I play Mike White?
No, I'm just saying. It's a rhetorical question of, like, of course the answer is Mike White plus Garrett Wilson plus Elijah Moore. No run back, and the Jets in the rain
in a monsoon, yeah.
Right, and then you fade Michael Carter, right? Did you fall for the what did you do with Michael Carter?
Oh, I played him for my lineups.
Oh, you went the other way. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, look, okay, so I understood that he would be higher owned than ownership projections were saying. Like I thought that he would be somewhere between 15 and 20% owned because we saw the same thing with Kenny and Drake. Like these kind of late additions into the running back pool, especially with how tight pricing has been. These kind of late additions have been picking up a lot of ownership. So I didn't mind having him. And when I put in for the projections that he was going to be like the lead back, we'll get back to that. But when I put in that he was going to be lead back, he projected just as well as these other guys. You know, he projected up there with Jeff Wilson and Rashad White for sure. So to be able to have him at 20%, which I'm fine with because I'm stacking against the other piece of the chalk, like he basically just added in one more option for me to indirectly leverage the other running back chalk that I was already leveraging against. So I didn't mind having him.
Just there was so much running backs that projected well that I wasn't sure, like, to project what the ownership of Carter was difficult for me. So like I understand. So here's two macro perspectives. Mm-hmm. One macro perspective of I'm more likely to jam late news than anything else. So if you sided with going overboard on Michael Carter, I think macro wise, that's the right thing to do. Now we saw the other week with Kenny and Drake, right. It went way too far. Because most of the time people don't react to late news efficiently enough. Now at 14% owned in the milli, I think that was Carter's efficient ownership.
Sure.
Like I was expecting Michael Carter to come up from 4% owned to like 18% owned. And I thought he was no much better of a play for the point per dollar value than Latavius Murray or P. Ryan. I didn't think he was as good as Wilson or White. So, like, he was like the third guy if you wanted to mix him in. But he was going to now garner ownership. And I thought a lot of the ownership would come out of Murray more than White or Wilson. So I ended up playing a little bit more Murray. I played a lot of Murray one side, DJ Moore on the other side.
Sure.
Because I was trying to avoid Garrett Wilson. Because if I was not going to play Mike White and I was not going to play the Bears, I didn't want to play a chalky 4K one-off. So, like, if I had P. Ryan in the lineup, I played Treylon Burks, right? Because it's the other side of the game. If I had Kenny Walker in my lineup, I played Mac Hollins, other side of the game. If I had Mark Andrews in my lineup, I played Zay Jones, other side of the game. I just thought I wasn't playing any Bears, so I saw no need to play what ended up being a much lower owned. I mean, he wasn't low owned, but Garrett Wilson was only 14.8% in the milli, and I had him projected at over 20%.
Yeah, so did I.
So at 14.8, I believe that's about what his efficient ownership was. If I thought he was 14, I would have considered him more. But still, in the fact that from a correlative aspect of my lineups, I wasn't really playing the Jets-Bears game anyway. And I was limited on Michael Carter. So it's like, what It's like, oh, Garrett Wilson's gonna be chalky. Let me play Carter as leverage against him. It's like, no, Carter's. I would have played the weird thing is if James Robinson was ruled in and he wasn't inactive, I would have been more likely to play Michael Carter.
Right, because the ownership
3 or 4% owned as leverage, right? So I think a lot of the Carter ownership took away from Wilson, and then a lot of people were kind of scared of the rain conditions. So Treylon Burks' ownership goes up to replace him because he was the next best projected receiver in that range. And then after him was Zay Jones and then Mac Hollins. And then I chose to just go down to Zay Jones or Mac Hollins. The weird thing for me, I did not expect Josh Palmer to be be the fourth highest owned receiver. I was playing Josh Palmer in lineups as leverage off of Keenan Allen. But if you tell me that the disparity between Keenan Allen and Palmer was 22% to 18%, I just would have played Keenan Allen in more lineups instead of Josh. I had Josh Palmer at like 8 to 10% owned. And at 18, outside of stacks, like I wouldn't have I wouldn't have played that type of one-off. So like to me, that was the most surprising thing for me. All this other ownership, I mean, is fairly spot on. The other situation is Josh Jacobs. Obviously, you needed Josh Jacobs to win first place. I mean, essentially, he was 4% owned and put up 51 points.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you the bull case and the bear case. This is what went on in my head. Okay. Josh Jacobs went on the injury report on Friday. He was questionable.
Yeah.
Right. And then Saturday night, they're like, no, he's good. He's gonna play. I love playing guys that like Jacobs that catches balls out of the backfield. And I mean, he's doing a lot more this year. I love playing these types of guys at low ownership, right? Like you tell me he's going to be 5% owned. I want to play that guy. The problem is that look at all the running backs we have on this slate.
Right.
I mean, I take a look at the running back position. I go Wilson, White, Walker, Murray, Carter, Pirine, Eckler, James Conner. If I'm going to pay up, maybe Derrick Henry. He's that 7% owned Derrick Henry. He could put up a 50 burger, right? Travis Etienne was 5% owned. Of course, he got injured and only put up 0.3 points. So I take a look at some of this and go, like, what am I playing, Jake? Like, I'm playing 18 lineups. Like, if I was playing 150, I probably would have had some Jacobs in there, but I'm making a stand. I'm taking a choice, and I'm going, I'm playing a lot of 3 running back lineups, but I have so many to choose from that I think I like James Conner at 6,600 at 10% owned. And I thought the best overall running back play was Kenny Walker at 6,900. And I thought his ownership would come down a little with the Michael Carter news. So it's just like Jacobs was just the odd man out. It's like I just didn't. There was enough value on the slate that I need to play Jacobs. So like that's the bull and bear case of like if running back was a little bit more star for value, I probably would have played. I would have said I'll take a chance on 4% Jacobs, even with the he's a little banged up type of thing. But then it just when I was building my lineups, I'm like, why do I need to increase the risk of my lineup when I don't need to anymore? Like I already had proper leverage in my lineups. It's like, do I need any more? Like I'm playing this Bengals Titans game, so why don't I just play Derrick Henry in this spot? Right? I'm playing Mac Hollins as my cheap wide receiver for the Raiders, who's going to be low owned. Like, why do I have Josh Jacobs? Right? I'm playing a lot of Kenny Walker, so I'm playing a lot of Kenny Walker, which means I'm probably not playing Josh Jacobs on the other side with 2 running backs in the same game. So it kind of just worked out that way. But in a vacuum, you told me, if you tell me you played a lot of Jacobs because he was 4% owned and he's Josh Jacobs, I think I think you were perfectly fine doing that. I just thought there's so many running backs on the slate that if you didn't get to him, so be it. I mean, you have to agree with that he has to be a good play at 4% owned.
Yeah, here's a list of running backs that I would have preferred over Josh Jacobs this week. Jeff Wilson Jr., Michael Carter, Derrick Henry, Samaje Perine, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, David Montgomery, Dante Foreman, Isaiah Pacheco, Kenneth Walker, Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara. Like, I would not have gotten to Josh Jacobs this week.
No, I would have played Jacobs over Kamara. Come on.
Okay, sure. The last one that I just said, but I wouldn't have gotten to Kamara. Like I don't think, because I did play Derrick Henry in one lineup. And I thought that Derrick Henry was a really, really good play this week, especially at low ownership. Whenever you can get Derrick Henry at low ownership, you should just play him. And the irony of him having significantly more receiving yards than rushing yards this week, he had an outside shot at a double bonus and just ends up not getting there. But there were 10 running backs, I think, that you probably get to before you get to Josh Jacobs, and his price point at 7,700. It's just,
I think it's fine. I'm saying ownership. I think it's fine. It's just that
the price is not the problem. The price isn't the problem. You can
the opportunity cost of the slot in your lineup.
And with the stacks, the way that they worked out, like 7,700 was just such a weird price to pay. Like you don't end up at 7,700 for a running back. You end up either in that 5K range, or you can pay up and pay down. Like that 7,700 range was so weird for him specifically. It wasn't the price. Like the price is fine, whatever. I don't mind paying 7,700. I'd pay $8K for Josh Jacobs, but for him to be priced in that spot and like, I want to play Miami stacks, I want to play Cincinnati stacks, I want to play Kansas City, I want to play these stacks that are kind of like necessitating me to pay either down or up. Outside of it, it's just such a weird price point on this slate. And I mean, put all of that together on top of, I really liked Las Vegas as a stack, and I really wanted to stack. Like I went with an overload stack for the Las Vegas Seattle game. I played 6 players from that game. It just ended up being that I just was not going to get to Josh Jacobs this week, and I think that's fine. If you got there, then that's awesome. He was a fine play. It just was such a weird price point and such a weird spot to build the lineups that I wanted to build, that I personally would not have gotten there.
Yeah, like even the Arizona game, like I played Eckler. Like it was more of a correlation between the lineups that I was playing. It's not like if I was playing more Geno stacks, then I would have had Jacobs. It's just that I thought the Geno stacks were overowned. Like Geno, Lockett, Metcalf, Fant type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I had Las Vegas.
What was your stance on Geno? I played Geno in cash, and you hate Geno Smith.
No, I played Geno in cash. I said Geno in cash.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have like a predisposition against Geno. I thought that 1 week he was the worst player on the planet, and then he crushed me. But like, I don't have a problem with playing him. I would have played him this week, and I did have a lineup with him, and then I swapped it over to a Derek Carr instead because, like I said, I overstacked that game. I went Derek Carr, Mac Hollins, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett in one of my lineups because I thought that game had the best shootout.
Okay, 3+2 if you want to just completely do that. Sure.
And it just turned out that Derek Carr there made that lineup work better for me. But like I had no problem with Geno. I had no problem with anybody from that game. In my game write-up, I said that you could literally play anybody from that game, and it's fine. And Josh Jacobs is in that game, so I'm fine with that. But I too would have gone with Kenneth Walker over Josh Jacobs, and Kenny Walker did great, right? Like he had a good game.
Well, he had 2 touchdowns, but I mean, his he only averaged like 2 yards a carry, but that's Kenny Walker. You have to understand that Kenny Walker is. He either runs for 2 yards or 20 yards, and that's 6,900. He had the second highest touchdown prop on the entire day. He had a higher touchdown prop than Austin Eckler,
which is crazy because all Austin Eckler and Christian Watson, all they do is score touchdowns. That's literally the only thing they do every single.
Yeah, but that's where the ceiling comes for DFS.
No, I was just making fun of that. I'm just making a regression joke, Jordan. Just a regression joke.
Another thing that I was surprised by was how low-owned Chris Godwin was.
I wasn't that surprised by that. People hate Tom Brady.
Yeah, but people love Chris Godwin. I played Chris Godwin in cash. Like, I played my cash lineup. In cash games, Godwin was 5% owned. Like, Godwin's style of play is double up friendly. I mean, dude, like you could just pencil him in for like 7 for 60, like as a baseline.
Yeah, but people were playing Keenan Allen at the same price.
I was playing both of them.
Right, but again, this is a roster construction thing, right? Like the way that price is out, you're not gonna be playing a lot of both Keenan Allen and Chris Godwin.
Right, because people wanted to play Garrett Wilson.
Right, people wanted to pay like the running backs. The running back slots were already in the mid 5K range, and then you're also playing Keenan Allen, and then you're also playing a 4K wide receiver. So then you're paying up somewhere.
Right, you're playing
like
Hopkins. You're probably playing Hopkins or Adams.
Yeah,
right.
You have the money for it, so you're not playing Chris Godwin. You're playing.
Right, but in cash games, I crushed because I decided not to play a 4K wide receiver.
Right, which is your mantra this year.
Right, my mantra is like I don't want this for. We had the opportunity on this with so much value on this slate at running back, for me not to have to play a 4K wide receiver. Like 4K wide receivers are fine on slates where there's barely any value, and you need something. So I'm like, how could I play without a 4K wide receiver? Well, let me go to war with this wide receiver group, and you run me down. Hopkins, Allen, Godwin. Good luck on that target share. Come on, like the most amount of targets I could get in my wide receiver spots, just give it to me. The only thing I have to do is punt and not play Mark Andrews, and I play Hayden Hurst.
Mm-hmm.
And Hayden Hurst did fine. I mean, I don't mind punting a tight end, and that was fine. So, like, that's how I got to Kenny Walker in cash, and that's how I got to Godwin in cash, because I wasn't going to play Traylon Burks or Garrett Wilson or Matt Collins or Zay Jones. And the funny part is, I played Matt Collins and Zay Jones, and all of that, and it didn't matter because Garrett Wilson, Traylon Burks had a touchdown on a fumble recovery.
Yeah, and that was the Derrick Henry play, and like because I had Derrick Henry in my Tampa Bay stack, and I had Traylon Burks in my Miami stack. So I was looking at that play, and I'm like, am I allowed to be mad about this? Because like one of my lineups is benefiting from this. And
yeah, but neither of them got a steal. You would have rather all the points go to one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like this is in the earlier portions of the game. Like both those guys still have the potential to hit their ceiling. Like there's nothing about that play that stops Derrick Henry from running for 120 yards for the rest of the game. But like those instances, that if Traylon Burks does not get that touchdown, then I'm pissed.
He has 11 points. He got a long pass. He got a long, like 40 yards, something.
Right. But in the moment, if he doesn't get that, because like in the moment when he recovers that fumble for a touchdown, I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least I got a touchdown in one of my lineups from that busted play. But if it's like Robert Woods picks it up and runs it in, then I'm just like, Derrick Henry fumbles, then I get nothing for this. Like it's just brutal. Again,
how many lineups did you play?
Just 3.
Okay. You didn't play McCaffrey in any of them, right?
No. I mean, I have been looking at that situation because San Francisco, the last showdown slate, like they have a very clear way that they're using Christian McCaffrey. They do not care about utilizing him for his ceiling right now. They only care about utilizing him when the game necessitates that they use him rather than Elijah Moore or Elijah Mitchell or their backup running back, whatever. Like
in competitive games, but if they have the game at hand, they're just not going to use him.
Then they are not going to utilize him. They know and they see that he does have like this injury history, and they're like, this is one of the best players in the game. When he's healthy, we're gonna keep him healthy. They're not going to use him if the game is in hand. They just refuse to. So whoever the backup running back is, Elijah Mitchell, MCL sprain or something. He got injured again, right? I think he did.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he got injured.
Whoever it is that's the backup running back, if San Francisco has the game in hand, they're just going to go to them. They're not going to use Christian McCaffrey. If they need to then pull it back and the game is not in hand, they'll use Christian McCaffrey. It's very clear how they're utilizing him. And then maybe in the playoffs, they're just going to unleash him and just say, yeah, go crazy. And I think that they will, because that's all that matters at that point is just winning in the playoffs. So right now, like you shouldn't be playing Christian McCaffrey at all. But come the playoffs, hopefully people still maintain that bias and think that it's going to continue to be a running back by committee, because I do think that they're just going to be like completely 100% into Christian McCaffrey in the playoffs because it's win or done.
I'll get another conversation I had on the Gilcast. If you want to check out the Gilcast, which is on Sports Grid, as well as it's syndicated to the RotoGrinders fantasy football feed. So subscribe to that podcast feed. I was filling in for Sammy because he was on vacation in Mexico with Davis, who was tilting Andrew's touchdown drops and Michael Carter injuries.
Yep.
And Nate. And we got in conversation about defense. Okay. Would it surprise you, James, that most of my lineups had the Chiefs defense in it in GPP?
No, because all three of my lineups had either the Chiefs or the Jets. So it doesn't surprise me that you also ate the chalk this week.
Right. The Chiefs in the Millie Maker, I think, was like 40 something percent owned, and Jets were like 24% owned. And the conversation was, it's a horrible GPP play to play the chalk defense.
Yes.
And that's that phrase is incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That you're not including enough information in what you're talking about. Like, if I would have told you on this slate, let's talk about running back. Jeff Wilson, let's say he had a projection of 74.
Yeah.
And he was 54% owned. I would have him in every single lineup and be like, why isn't he 99% owned?
Right.
Right? Okay, so there is a line where it's not just fade the chalk, eat the chalk. There's that, like, those terms are they're black and white. They're not, they should be on a spectrum. We see it in NBA basketball. There's some $3,800 guy that, like, basically you lock into all your lineups and you go, well, how do I play a guy that's going to be 72% owned? Is it because he should be 86% owned? Like,
right.
That's the reason why, because he projects so well that he's still under-owned for the projection. In just like we said with Jeff Wilson in football, it's like, is 54% efficient ownership for Jeff Wilson? Probably not. He probably should be lower than that, but he still should be the highest owned running back. So for you to go in and go, I'm just going to fade the highest owned event, you're also fading the highest projected everything. So it's not a matter of what's high owned and low owned. It's what's over owned or under owned. Now, based on aggregate projections, I had the Chiefs defense, the highest projected defense on the slate, at 1,200 less than the highest priced defense on the slate. It was the biggest disparity I've ever seen in NFL DFS since I played, where a defense has a salary adjusted plus minus of 4. And you also remember, defenses typically project for around, on average, 7 points.
Right.
So to have a salary adjusted plus of 4 means that you're over 50% better projected than every other defense on the slate, regardless of salary. So if the Chiefs were 4,000, they would still be one of the better defenses to have on the slate. But now you're getting a $1,200 discount. So my attitude is that the Chiefs should be 50-60%. They should be 50 to 60% owned because it's clearly mispriced against the Rams. Understand, though, that the fragility of defensive projections it's wide. It's out of all the positions in NFL DFS, the highest variant is defense, is DST. But just because it's variant doesn't mean you can't project something. It's just that the range of outcomes is going to be wider. So in my opinion, when you have a defense that is 4 points better projected than any other, regardless of price, and you save money, like, what am I supposed to do? Go down to the Jaguars and drop 4 points in projection and only lose 300 in salary? So it's like, I'm going to either pay up to be contrarian, or why don't I just eat the Chiefs defense because it projects like this? So like when people say don't play the highest owned defense, it's so variant. In those cases, we're looking at when one defense projects for a point higher, right? We had that Bengals slate, right, a couple of weeks ago.
Right, 52% owned.
Right, 52% owned. The Bengals only projected 1.5 points better than any other defense salary adjusted. In that scenario, 1.5 points ain't enough for them to be, should be 52% owned. But for a defense 4.21, they should be 50. They should be 52% owned. And then I suspected that a lot of people were going to jump on the Jets at 3,300 because we had that Nathan Peterman possibility, right? And he throws 1 million interceptions. Of course, Simeon ended up starting because who knows? So I'm like, well, people are going to jump on the Jets and jump off the Chiefs. why not play the $2,800 defense that they literally had the highest projection on the slate? So the conversation, James, though, on the Dealcast was, well, we can't project defenses. So I asked Davis, I said, well, you do projections. Like, do you put a number there? I go, yeah. Okay, so why don't you go by the numbers? Well, because the fragility is so high. So, but you still put a number there, right? But you still, like in cash games, what did you play? It's like, oh, Chiefs. It's like, why didn't you just play the Browns? They were the cheapest defense. If defenses you can't project defenses, why didn't you play the Browns? It's like, well, the Chiefs were in the best spot, which means you are projecting defense. You are projecting DSTs. I understand that the error bars are much wider than other positions. But to say that you cannot play the Chiefs defense, can you play the Chiefs defense at 40+% owned with Rachaad White, with Jeff Wilson, and with T. Higgins, and with like the chalk combination? No, probably not for GPP. But as long as you get different elsewhere, I mean, there's no reason. It's the same thing of, I'm going to play Jeff Wilson and get different elsewhere. I'm going to play Rachaad White and get different elsewhere. Just because it's a defense doesn't mean you can't say the same thing of, I'm just going to eat the Chiefs defense and get different elsewhere. And my way of getting different was in no lineup that I played, did I play Jeff Wilson and Rachaad White together. Once I separate those two, 54 and a 44% owned, running backs, I had enough left. I was playing, I always had a single digit owned guy in my lineup, so I was good. But the argument was that, oh no, highest owned defenses you always fade. I mean, I don't know what side that you land on, but I'm assuming that on that spectrum, you're more on my side that you are. I know that you don't like projecting defenses, but you still have to.
Yeah, so I do project defenses, right? Like I have defense projections, and they're built up in a very, very intuitively sound way. Does the other team pass a lot? And do they allow sacks? And that's it. Like, that's how I project defenses. Because the error bars are really wide. So there's not any reason to go super in depth and like try to look at O-line versus D-line and like interceptions per blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no reason to do that. So
the Rams were playing a third string quarterback, missing their top two wide receivers, right, and have the worst offensive line in the league.
Right. So here's the thing. I think that projecting defenses, you can do it, but it's not something that you should live or die by. I do think that there is a certain point as a modeler and as a spreadsheet guy that you need to understand that football is a game played with people, and the Chiefs defense was in a killer spot and the Jets defense was in a killer spot, and like
the Dolphins defense were in a killer spot also, and they got the touchdown.
And the Dolphins defense, yeah. But
the Dolphins defense was much more expensive,
right? So,
like if the Dolphins defense was the same price as the Chiefs defense, I would have played the Dolphins. So the fact that we're even talking about this, like if the Dolphins defense was cheaper, you would have played them, means that there is some amount of projecting defenses to some degree.
Right.
And it's just a matter of, are they worth the ownership? And in most slates, the differences between the projections of defenses is a point, a half a point between each other. And on this specific slate, there was one that was just so dramatically higher than everything else that I felt that the efficient ownership of the Chiefs was 55%. And I thought with the Jets moving up, that the Chiefs would not come in at that. So I thought they were the highest owned defense, but they were the under owned defense.
I do not think they were underowned. I do think that they were overowned. I don't think that any defense should ever be 50%.
But you project them, but you're projecting defense.
Right. So hold on though. Like I do project them out, and I do think that the Chiefs defense and the Jets defense were by far the best defenses on the slate. And I played them. And I hardly ever eat the chalk on defense. But there's a couple things that go into it, right? One, it's not like the Chiefs were 4K like they should have been. That's where that adjusted value comes in. So to have a $2,800 defense that projects well and is in a really good spot intuitively, those things matter. But it also would have been different if I felt that I needed to play a lot of the chalk at other positions, right? At that point, it also means their efficient ownership should go down. I don't want to play a 40% owned Chiefs defense if I am stacking up with Jeff Wilson, Rashad White, and T. Higgins, like you said. That matters. But any defense is going to be a fine play, even if the error bars are wide, if your lineup can accept it. It's the same thing as a 4K wide receiver. You can eat 30% owned Garrett Wilson with the backup Jets QB, why did we all trust that? You can eat that.
Mike White's better than Zach Wilson.
It was
a quarterback upgrade.
I don't have an opinion on that, but the backup Jets defense quarterback should just we should all just take a step back and think about that.
You didn't have Mike White projected for 74 points or anything?
No.
You haven't done that in a while. What was your projection that makes no sense?
Okay. Let's see.
So around the industry, I didn't see anything that seemed that egregious.
I guess Michael Carter at 17.
My aggregate had Michael Carter at 16.43. So that isn't nuts.
All right, hold on. Let me go to wide receivers.
It's just that Rashad White had a slightly better projection, and Jeff Wilson had a better projection, and Latavius Murray had a slightly lower projection. Pirine was on par.
Drake London at 13.
Yeah, that can't be right. They don't throw. Drake London. Let's see.
Well, Kyle Pitts on IR. So you have to.
What does it matter? They don't throw to anyone. I had him at 10.67 in the aggregate.
Okay. So
how much does it piss off Kyle Pitts owners that in the game that they actually throw the ball a little bit more? That it's the game that Kyle Pitts isn't in.
Yeah.
He gets injured and they're like, okay, good. Now that he's gone, we could throw the ball. It's what are they doing?
Well, no. Okay, so look. It makes sense. Think about the coach's comments. They have heralded Kyle Pitts for his pass blocking and his run blocking all year. So, of course, when he's out and they don't have him for pass pro, they go, or they don't have him for
run project. They don't have him for run blocking.
So, Of course, if he's out, they feel they can't run the balls effectively, so they pass the ball more. Right? Think about the coach's comments on that. That makes sense.
We're just trying to read into it. They don't even know what they're talking about.
Okay, no. But Arthur Smith has been really good.
Does Arthur Smith know what he's talking about?
Dude, they have a good record. Right?
Yeah, it's more of the fact of you're playing bad and getting there.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
sure,
it's a negative EV lineup winning the Millie Maker. It's okay. Great.
I think that it does have to come down to eventually a point of, even if they are underperforming, I guess, maybe Mariota is that bad. We've seen Mariota be pretty bad this year.
Yeah, I've seen him throw the ball. Maybe that's what they just don't let him throw because he's
I think that's probably it. I think that Arthur Smith has been doing what he can with Mariota, who's probably bad. He's been a backup for 3-4 years, right? So maybe he just sucks. And they can't utilize him. I don't know. Anyway, I think that it makes sense that Kyle Pitts being out would lead to a pass-heavier game plan. But I digress. Drake London, I think he ended up with because who else are they going to pass to? Olamide Zacchaeus?
Olamide Zacchaeus and Damiere Byrd.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I had him with quite a bit of a market share.
Who do the Seahawks play next week?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at next week.
I swear, whoever's the running back for that team, I'm watching Red Zone, and Doesn't matter who's running the ball. It could be Amir Abdullah, it could be Zamir White, or it could be Josh Jacobs. Seemed like every running play was 12 yards.
Well, dude, I like think back to Jamal Williams chalk week.
Yeah, you're right, against the Seahawks.
The Seahawks just end up being in these absolutely high scoring games. They've had a lot of high scoring games so far this year.
Who are they playing? Let's take a look. Who are they playing next week? Seahawks, Rams, Cam Akers. Are you going to play Cam Akers? The Rams are probably still going to only have a 17-point team total.
It'll be probably no. I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to play.
Are we playing the Seahawks defense is that bad? Maybe we play some Perkins could run the ball.
No, it'll be Kyron Williams, right?
Yeah, the problem with the Rams is that they don't even they're facing a horrible run defense, but they're the worst run offense in the league.
Right. Who did? Let's see what their split was this week. Kyron Williams had 11 attempts. Cam Akers had 8. Cam Akers, he's 4.6 yards per carry. Cam Akers next week, baby.
Right, and then Nick Chubb. Next week, you got to be prepared, James.
Oh, it's Nick Chubb week.
It's for fading Nick Chubb and losing because they're facing the Browns are facing the Texans.
What do we got here? What's next week? What are some of the good games here? Vikings Jets with Mike White, the savior at QB. That game's stackable.
I think the Jaguars may be popular against the Lions.
Well,
defense.
especially Trevor Lawrence looked freaking great in the fourth quarter.
You know who's going to be? You know who's going to be chalk next week? It's going to be chalk on tonight's slate. Najee Harris is 6,100 against the Falcons.
Yeah, people like that.
Right, Najee chalk. You know it always good. You know he's probably going to project well, but they're obviously with Najee Harris a lot of lines where he gets 22 carries for 42 yards. And then Pickett cucks him on the end zone on the goal line twice, right? And
I mean that's a very clear like just play Pat Fryermuth, right? The Muth. Yeah, Broncos Ravens. That's a barn burner. That's gonna be great.
No, I think that the top game of the slate is probably gonna be the late games. It's gonna be Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs, Bengals.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, yeah.
But you know the late games never shoot out.
You have Dolphins 49ers there too. Like that game has upside.
Maybe on the Dolphins side.
No, I mean, like Brandon Ayuk has been terrific for fantasy this year. People aren't paying attention.
All I kept on seeing was Jawan Jennings catching balls.
That's fair. I didn't look at the San Francisco game this year.
Right. It seems like their production is so spread out now that like no one's worth their price.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we have this last week for San Francisco? Deebo Samuel, 7 targets. Brandon Ayuk, 8 targets. Brandon Ayuk this year so far has had just 3 games with less than 5 targets. He's had, or 4 games, sorry, week 1. He had 8, 8, 11, 11, 7, 8, like for his high notes. He's out targeting George Kittle every single week. He's out targeting Deebo Samuel most weeks. Like Brandon Ayuk has been really, really good for fantasy.
Now I found the chalk game. DFIC has it in chat. The Detroit Jacksonville, the line, the total is over 50.
Yeah, people be on
Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like that combination. Because obviously Zay Jones puts up 30. I got to do it again. Right?
Yeah, that's a stock. And
chalk Evan Ingram never goes wrong, right? We haven't had that happen for the past 4 years.
And automatically right now, I'm going to say it in the Discord. I like the Detroit side more because Jared Goff has as much upside as Trevor Lawrence. And I'm going to use DJ Chark this week. My stack is going to be Jared Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown and DJ Chark. I'm going to bring it back with Evan Ingram, and I'm going to hate my entire life.
I like the way that we've just completely moved on from yesterday and just like, what's going on? What more is there to talk about?
We never do this. You and I never break down the slates. Like I
don't even know what's going on. I just looked at the salaries this morning, and that's all I know.
See, I haven't even looked at the salaries. I didn't even know who was playing. So like this is
he went. Travis Etienne is 6,400 against the Lions defense.
Well, but is Travis Etienne broken? What
No, he's fine. I saw on Twitter that he could have come back in the game. They did it for preventative measures.
Preventative.
Not yet, but not preventative for your lineups.
Yeah, so Jaguars, Lions, I'll be chalk. And then, I mean, there's going to be upside. I wonder if people are going to leave out that Chargers Raiders stack.
No, that's going to be that people are going to.
No, well, because we've had this before. Like Jaguars, Lions going to be popular. I think that people are going to stack up the Bills. I think people.
How about Mike White? Look, Cobra Kai, Mike White in the dome.
Yep, there's Mike
White. You do the tight end. You do Mike White, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, revenge game.
Oh man, there it is.
And then Justin Jefferson as the run back.
I mean, and Justin Fields might be back this week for the Bears
against the Packers. Jordan Love may be in for the Packers.
I don't think people are going to play that Chargers Raiders game. I think everyone hates David Carr. I think that
Derek Carr, that's his brother.
Derek Carr, whatever. Sorry. I think the
total should be high. I'm assuming that total is going to be almost 50.
Yeah, but the Jaguars Lions is already at 50. There's the Chiefs on this slate. There's the Dolphins.
Raiders are in the dome. The Blitz is going to love that game.
There's the Bills on this slate. I'm going to guess the Chargers Raiders like the fourth highest ownership. Like it's not even going to be owned.
No, I think it'll be the most popular game.
It will not. No. The Jaguars.
I think it'll be that and the Jaguars Lions.
Jaguars Lions will be the most popular game, and then Chiefs Bengals will be the second highest.
No, not because of price. No, who are you playing?
I don't know who's going to be the chalk running back.
You can't stack Mahomes with anyone else other than Kelsey because he throws to 700 people.
So it's going to be that Travis Etienne is actually out. That it's not just preventative. That they lied. It's going to be JaMychal Hasty chalk. And then it's going to be that people are playing the Chiefs Bengals, and people will make it work because this is what they'll say. They'll say the Chiefs spread the ball around a lot, so I'm going to play Nicole Hardman's little sister at wide receiver because he might catch a touchdown, and he's only 3K. And people are going to make it work to where they stack Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, one of the third string wide receivers for the Chiefs, and then bring it back with T. Higgins. People will do that. They'll play it with some fringe $5,200 chalk running back that's not actually good chalk. Or they'll play the good running backs with the Jaguars-Lions game where they go with Trevor Lawrence, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram with Amon-Ra St. Brown and 2 6K running backs. And they will not touch the Chargers-Raiders game because they think that those teams suck.
I'm going to play it then. I'm going to play Justin Herbert, and I'm going to play Herbert and Carr.
Yep. And I will too. And nobody in that Chargers-Raiders game will be over 20% except for maybe Devontae Adams, but I doubt it because people would rather play Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, or that.
Well, the Bills aren't on the slate.
Oh, no, you're right. That's Thursday.
Bills Patriots is the Thursday night.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody in that game, that Chargers-Raiders game, will be over 20%.
You don't feel like stacking Commanders, Giants, or Steelers, Falcons?
I think people
Broncos Ravens. Let's do it.
I think people will talk themselves into the Steelers. I think people will talk themselves into the Steelers.
Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Mark Andrews.
I am so tired of stacking the Broncos. I'm so tired of it. I have Cortland Sutton projected really well this week. And actually, he got there, right? Like I projected him for 14 and he got there. But like the Broncos, I have no idea how they have just been like, yeah, let's just let Nathaniel Hackett continue to just run this team into the ground. I have no idea.
Do you think Russell Wilson will get more touchdowns than the guys' bathrooms?
No, I don't know.
How is that a meme? How is that a meme that some guy has a lot of bathrooms and it's like, will Russell Wilson?
It's his house. It's Russell Wilson's
his house. Oh, it's Russell Wilson's house. Oh, I thought it was just some random dude's house. So how many bathrooms does Russell Wilson have in his house?
Like 12.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Who needs 12 bathrooms in a house?
I don't know, but that's one of the best memes that's come out of this year. So far.
Dude, I've gone to venues. I've gone to venues like concert venues that don't have 12 that have like 2,000 people there, and they only have 2 toilets.
I'd be willing to bet that most office buildings do not have 12 bathrooms.
Right, 12 bathrooms. Not obviously not. Are they full bathrooms? Do they have a shower in it also?
I'm gonna guess there's like probably 4 powder rooms. Probably 8 full size, and then like 4 powder.
But is it 12? Like if you say 12, that can mean 8 full size and then 8 half baths also.
Oh my God,
So
yeah,
just the toilet in the
right,
sink.
yeah, man. Well, the actual descriptor here is 8 toilets. So he might only, or the actual descriptor is actually 12 toilets, right?
The 12,
he might
so
only
does he have
have
12 toilets or 16 toilets?
He might have 6 bathrooms with 2 toilets in each bathroom.
No, I don't think so. That's weird. Why would you have double toilets? Who goes to the bathroom
He's a
together?
weird dude. Have you
Yeah, I
seen his
guess so.
commercials? What if he's a shy
He's
pooper?
defecating with other people?
What if he's a shy pooper and he feels that what if him and Sierra both need to poop at the same time?
Devin in the chat, 2 toilets facing each other in each bathroom.
That's the ultimate, so that him and Sierra can hold hands while they poop together.
Who is and I'm the one, I'm a bathroom expert. I go to the bathroom more than anyone else. So like I get the need. If I had a big house and I had all the money in the world, I'd be like, I don't want to be more than 20 feet away from a toilet at any time, and put a half bath in like every room. The kitchen, you know. I have a very big closet, you know, because I store a lot of stuff. I have a big wardrobe, whatever. And in the big walk-in closet, there's a little bathroom there also. Like that's a half bath, right? So I don't even have to leave the closet if I need to take a poop. I understand that, like, if that's the case, that's fine. But like why do you need 4 showers? Why do you need 6 baths? Like what? I didn't even give you. I would say, why do you need more than 1? But I could even give you 2. Like, okay, you want to put one of them on each floor?
Yep.
And you have 2 floors? Fine. You want to have the guest bedroom has some type of jacuzzi tub in it? Fine. But the thing is that you don't have the right to put 12 bathrooms in your house until you can throw at least 12 touchdowns.
No, I agree with that.
How many does he have this year? 7?
It's I don't know. Hold on.
They don't have that many games left. What, they have 6 games left or something? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They have 6 games. Did they have the bye already?
Russell Wilson has 8 touchdowns.
Okay, and how many bathrooms does he have?
12.
Okay, so he needs 4 touchdowns in the next what? And how many games do they have left? What's their record? They have 6 games left? 7 games left?
Yeah, you
can't say yeah to 2 things. It's one or the other.
No, it's 7 games left.
7 games. So he has to throw 4 touchdowns in 7 games. I'll put that at even money at this point.
That's a sweat. Think about this. He has thrown. It's even money right now for sure. But in 10 games, he has thrown 8 touchdowns. So that is legitimately a sweat to see if he hits the amount of toilets in his house.
No, but see, now the thing is, James, he could rig this by getting rid of bathrooms. Like if he just went in right now and got rid of a couple of bathrooms, then he has thrown more touchdowns than bathrooms.
Okay, all right. So
you know what we have to do if we had a bet on this? I'm going to go there. I'm going to start installing more bathrooms. I'm going to put the little porta potties. That counts as a bathroom, right? So I don't have to build anything. I bring some porta potties, have some like training one, you know, like little kids, little potties that they sit like that may count as a bathroom.
Well, no. Okay. But the distinctive here is that it's a toilet, not a bathroom. So the little potties.
I didn't know that it was so these are toilets.
Yes, toilets.
Okay.
So the little potties count here. But the key here is that you have to do it without him knowing, because he'll have them removed. So you have to get into Russell Wilson's house. You have to develop this rapport with Russell Wilson and Sierra and get into his house, really engage yourself with their family, and then somehow hide these little kids' toilets across their house so that you can win this bet.
I was going to do it as a motivational tool.
No.
I was going to do it, be like, look, Russ, you really got to step up your touchdown production. So I know that you have 12 toilets and you think that you're on pace for your 12 toilet production, but I'm going to bring in 10 more toilets. So it's like, no, now 6 games, you got to throw a lot more touchdowns.
Does this
that hopefully would
technically
motivate.
count as insider information if you add toilets to his house and give him motivation to throw more touchdowns and then stack him next week?
Let's do it. We'll work on it together.
I unfortunately do not live in Colorado anymore, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to
Amazon. We'll send some Amazon. We'll mail it to him.
That's true. I do still have contacts there. I guess I could hit some people up. Let's try to get some more bathrooms.
He'll get some big boxes, and wonder why all these toilets are coming.
This is incredible.
Right. Card Van says Jordan's going to spend his DFS winnings on adding bathrooms at another man's house.
Here's another fun
I'm going to stack Russell Wilson and win the millie. It'll be a worthwhile investment.
Here's another bet. Will Russell Wilson end up passing? Let's see. Will he end up passing Jacoby Brissett in fantasy points by the end of the year?
I don't think so.
Russell Wilson is currently at 134. Jacoby Brissett currently at 168. Jacoby Brissett will not play any more games left.
Now he'll get there. I mean, could get like what 30 points in 6 games? Like he's going to do that.
Let's hope.
Now, why hope? If I'm playing him, I don't care.
Well, that's true. I want it. Like,
why do you want to root for Russell Wilson?
No, I want Nathaniel Hackett to get fired because I think that offense, like, it was such a well-projected offense and they have so many good weapons that it just sucks to see it be so bad.
Maybe Russell Wilson sucks.
There has never been a circumstance where a QB has dropped off this hard at this age without like the physical destruction of their body. It's just weird. Like it's just such a odd.
He's letting Geno Smith throw the ball. And he's doing better than Russell Wilson.
Maybe he's just been bad all along and Pete's just been hiding him, just like Mariota. Maybe Russell Wilson is just Mariota.
Worse, he doesn't even run.
Not anymore, yeah.
Right, what happened there? Gets a contract, he gets old. He got all those toilets and he was just satisfied. It's like, why do I need to do anything more in my life? I already have 12 toilets.
Yeah, his entire life goal is just to have more than 10 toilets in his house, and he now has 12.
Right. Diminishing returns. When you install that 13th toilet, it doesn't give you the same feeling as when you go from like 6 to 7 or 7 to 8.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like you're moving up in the world. But once you get to like the 18th toilet, it's like you might as well put in 10 more. It's not going to you grow toilet tolerance. Right? Maybe you get you go to next thing you know, you have 96 toilets in your house and you're like, I don't know how I got here. And then now you have to hit rock bottom.
And then you're just sleeping on toilets. Can you imagine a house with like 26 toilets in it? How big does that house have to be?
It just has to be 26. It could be a very small house. It doesn't have to be a big house. It could be a house that look, my house right here, I could install 26 toilets.
A functional house with 26 toilets.
It won't. The kitchen will be worthless, and basically my television in the living room will be sitting on top of toilets.
Yeah.
Right. And my couch would be basically a 3-seater of toilets. Like it wouldn't be a couch. It would just be 3 toilets. Would that be the best where you could just sit and poop and just oh, okay. I don't have to get up. I just poop on the couch.
We get paid to have these discussions. Like people are like, man, you guys have such cool jobs. You get to watch sports all day and get paid for it. No, we get paid to talk about this. We get paid to talk about this and fixing baseball. Just incredible stuff. I am just blessed. So this is just great. This has been good.
You know the best place to listen to this show?
On
the toilet. Right? The best place to learn DFS strategy by getting the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports for advanced players. How to apply profitable DFS strategies in a systematic, repeatable, time-efficient way. 10 chapters of audio. James's Microsoft Excel tools. Pick it up, theoryofdfs.com/advanced. James, people can find you at paydirt_DFS.
Yep, paydirtdfs.com. I have a lot of really cool tools over there, a lot of really cool models for pretty much every single sport, and also still running a Black Friday deal, which we'll run through next Friday. Use code PAYDIRTBF all caps at checkout on a monthly subscription. So yeah, go check that out.
And I'm on Twitter at BlenderHD. Feel free to come to Twitter for all my toilet takes. I got toilet takes. I got toilet takes up the ass. If you want to say so, right? Right. The DFIX says the advanced course includes free toilet strategy. If you need toilet strategies, you come to me. I'm very good at the game theory of finding bathrooms and how to get there. Right. There have been a lot of times that I've had to quickly find bathrooms. You basically have to plot like you're looking for Starbucks, right? Not McDonald's, right? But primarily Starbucks. Starbucks has a corporate policy to let you don't have to buy anything in order to go to the bathroom. How would I know that? Because I looked it up. I do my research, James. I do my research. Okay, give me those thumbs ups. Come on, come on. You like the toilet talk? Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. We got basketball today. We got Monday Night Football. I'll be on tonight. Me and Tim will be covering the Monday Night Football slate, the Steelers and the Colts. So check that out. Hit that notification bell, and I'll be back. Be back later, and then tomorrow again, like I'm always here, answering your DFS strategy questions Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.